Hello, my name is Amaan Ahmad. I'm a legal intern at LEXIS and Company, and today, and I am from Faculty of Law at University, pursuing second year in 3 years LLB. So the topic of today's video is how our constitution was made, or how the constitution, what was the constitution timeline. So the first, if we talk about the constitution timeline, it is the revolt of 1857. After India lost revolt of 1857, the East India Company handed over the governance of British India in the hands of British government in 1858. So before 1858, the company was governing all its possession in India at central and provincial level through the Governor General and his council at both levels. So after that, the Indian Council Act came in 1861, the first Indian Council Act. So brought several changes in the role and function of the council. However, no Indian was involved in it. No Indian was even made to go into this executive field. After that, the Indian National Congress was formed in 1885. So which enlightened Indians, especially lawyers, were given position as they can conceive and formulate that kind of constitutional arrangement which India can have under the British paramountcy, and the idea of constitutional arrangement must be submitted to British government in the form of petition only, and there was no extremism at this point of time. So before the end of 19th century, this is how the Indian National Congress started discussing the constitutional designs and arrangement with the British government. Though not much heed was paid at the Britishers, and the value of INC was not recognized with regard to proposal pertaining to the participation of Indian in the formulation of government and for the grant of basic right to Indian. But this changed later on at this stage. So if we talk about next, it's the 1892 Act, or the Second Indian Council Act. So Indians were now included in the legislative council of the nation and not in executive council. However, these provisions did not satisfy the demands of the Indians for participating in the government, which led to more unrest among the people. That's why a special committee of reforms was made by Morley Minto. So to avoid unrest and calm down the population, in 1909 an act was passed which came to be known as Morley Minto reforms of 1909. So Minto reforms were named after then the Governor General. So the reforms were made in respect to legislative councils, where the number of representatives were increased and the powers was extended. However, no reforms were made with regards to executive council. So the executive point was still not covered up to till 1919. Further, the following changes were made, like for example, the number of legislative members at the central level was increased from 16 to 60. The elaborate scheme was prepared for that indirect election through the compromise of non-elected members. So power of legislature was extended for a serious discussion on financial matters like budget. That act also declared that any Indian could be the part of the Governor General's council, but it was never implemented. It was just for the sake of saying. So after that, the 1919 act came, which was the Government of India Act 1919. After the announcement, the Montague, the Secretary of the State, along with Lord Chelmsford, then the Viceroy, toured India in order to analyze the political problems in India. In 1918, on the basis of tour, they submitted a report which came to be known as Montague-Chelmsford Reform. So they made this report on the basis of the bill which was introduced in the Parliament. So the bill was analyzed in a detailed manner by the Select Committee and passed it by the Leading Act of 1919. So the act was perhaps the first constitutional element in India, which it can be said as the first step before the Government of India Act 1935. So the act consisted of the highlights, which were, for example, the act for the first time had a preamble which specifically emphasized the maximum autonomy of provinces, ultimately leading to self-government. So provisions were made for classification of subjects into center and provincial subjects. So according to these devolutions, the rules of subject of common interest such as defense, foreign affairs and currency are assigned to center, with the subject of local interest like health education was assigned to the provinces. So the residuary power came under the center also. Thereby the first time the idea of federal government came into the limelight. So now the major bulwark of the act was the Government of India Act 1935. So this act, though earlier minority we in this committee was neglected by the commission, but later on it was complied with the suggestion of appointment of royal commission. So in 1930 the report by the commission was submitted, which did not recommend any change in the federal structure again. So however, the demand of the people pertaining to the federal and responsive government was put forth by the Nehru committee report. Also, the Indian princes expressed their willingness to join the federation. So, in order to deliberately discuss the constitutional reform, the British government organized three roundtable conference. However, the first two utterly failed, and in the third one, the white paper was issued, which stated that the establishment of a strong federation with autonomous provinces and creation of government at center and at the province level. So this paper was subjected to controversy. In order to overcome and satisfy them, a joint select committee was made. So some of the salient features that can be said of the Government of India Act 1935 was it had basic features of federalism. It was divided into two parts: one governor's province, and which had the freedom to become such member by the executive instrument of accession. So the princely states had the option to do this. The government of India state was based on instrument of accession, which provides which provinces were governed by uniform constitutional status. So there were about 600 Indian states, and every state had a different constitutional document as an instrument. So the subject of the legislation was broadly and exclusively divided into center, province, conqueror subjects, residuary subjects. So these were the some of the important development that came until the 1935. After that, the Cripps mission came in 1942, and then the Revolt plan came, and then lastly the cabinet mission of 1946, which was very important. So the cabinet mission put forth the proposals the Union of India should compromise of provinces, and Indian states in Union of India should have the power to deal with the subject of foreign affairs, defense and communication, like big subjects, along with the ancillary power to raise fund to the cater needs of these subjects. So the Union of India must take the representative of the Indian state and British India as a part of legislature and executive, and the power that pertain to all subject except that of union, states and residuary powers will rest in the hand of province only. So the provinces would be free to make groups with legislator and executive, and there were bifurcations made in section A, section B, section C, and various states were allotted to it. So every state section of representative is supposed to make the constitution for then or province. So after that, the Mountbatten plan came due to the problems in this act, and the Mountbatten plan is specifically stated which replaced Wavell as Mountbatten, who replaced Wavell as a viceroy. So Mountbatten stated the petition was only a solution to settle the problem between the communities, and he did not want the division between India and Pakistan. So the boundaries of both the territories would be settled by judicial commission. Therefore, the federal shape was given to the Mountbatten plan by enacting the Indian Independence Act of 1947, which is the last act. So by this, the two dominions were established, India and Pakistan, on 15 August 1947. So the whole of British India was given to India, except that of Pakistan and its parts. So each domain, the government general will be important by the king, and with the lapse of British parliamentaries, the treaties will also lapse, and the constitutional assembly of both the dominion will have the power to exercise dominion legislation, and modify and enacted Act of 1935 will be on force until the constitution is not drafted. Hence this act also came into force on 15 August 1947, which marked the end of 182-year-old British rule. So this was some of the things that I wanted to talk about in the constitutional timeline. Thank you, and please remember, this video does not violate any guidelines of Bar Council of India and does not solicit or promote any of the advertisement, and the sole purpose of this video is educational, guys. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already to see more of this content in future, and I'll be coming up with the next video soon about talking about the more of the aspects of the law. And please provide a feedback to this video, and if you have any questions, please put a comment. Thank you.